Based on your milling and overlaying strategy, reconstruction strategy, you're spending anywhere between 125 to $250,000 on average per mile to fix that roadway. I'm using air quotes for those of you listening to the podcast version. Air quotes, fixing. Are you really fixing the problem? Or are you just milling off the inch and a half, putting the inch and a half back and saying, here we go. I did my job. Great work, everybody. We got another 15, 20 years of life out of this thing. Because the reality is, you're spending that money no matter what. You see, when you go dig into the general budget, the general fund of any municipality, one of the top line expenses is going to be roadway maintenance and repair. That's right. The majority of that, in terms of a percentage of all of the funds going into that general budget for the year, are going to go to roadway maintenance and repair activities. So, what I want to challenge all of you out there to do is make sure you're maximizing that expenditure. How do you maximize it? Milling and overlaying until the money runs out doesn't solve the problem. I'm venturing to guess. I'm venturing to guess you already know that because you're already getting complaints about your roadways. You know your roadways are averaging around an average 60 PCI consistently throughout the network. You know you have roadways right now that are in pretty good shape that can be saved if you do something, but maybe the challenge for you is convincing your council, talking to your mayor about this. Maybe you don't buy into some of the treatments. Maybe you think a lot of these sales individuals on the contracting side of all this they're selling snake oil. Look, success leaves clues. I've talked about that in the past, but that's up to you to decide because what I'm learning here through the research that I'm doing as a payment management professional for 25 years is that the public is more and more in tune now than ever. They have ChatGPT. They have the internet, obviously. They've got Facebook. There's groups. They're all talking about what you're doing or what you're not doing, to be more specific. That's the challenge of being in the public works, in the public eye for all of us. You know, the good works and efforts that you do put out there, and I know all of you are fighting each and every day to make an impact on your community one way or the other, they're often overlooked, right? Hey, we put a new park in. You're going to get a pat on the back for maybe 20 minutes. But what happens when things go wrong? That's where all of the outrage lives. That's where the comments live. That's where the public is coming into your Facebook pages. That's where the public is emailing the public works director, city engineer, right? Maybe even writing to the mayor, coming to public meetings, public council, city council meetings, for example, or trustee meetings, talking about the lack of effort on the roads. I guarantee someone listening to this right now who is in the public side of this has dealt with a phone call in the last year or two from a resident that says, hey, when are you going to fix my road? When are you going to fix my road? I haven't seen anybody out here in 5, 10, 15, 20 years. I just took a discovery call with a public works director. And they said, look, our trustees get it. Our council gets it. We're realizing we need a roadway condition assessment. And what I wanted to challenge back on that is the roadway condition assessment is a step. It is a step in the right direction because you can see what you got. But if there is no thought moving forward on continuing the effort, pairing condition assessment with actual pavement management, qualifying treatments for the right treatment, the right time, taking a look at the ROI, your budget analysis, life cycle, pavement modeling, all of these things, then what good is the condition assessment really? It's going to paint the map 5 to 7 colors for today. That data is good for today, maybe this year. If you don't act on that data tomorrow, you're going to be in a tough spot to leverage the information you received in a future year. So the reality is this: while we identify we need a condition assessment that can assist us in identifying the problem, you have to have a plan. Otherwise, it's just a map. It's just a map of roads in different colors. Because the reality is you already know where the bad roads are. This individual did. This individual knows that he's got people coming to his council meetings, street committee meetings, phone calls, emails, complaining about the roadways because he's been very vulnerable about it. He realizes that there are plenty of roads in his community that have not seen any activity for over 20 years. And I want you to think about that, because chances are pretty strong that if you're listening to this type of content, you know exactly what a road that received zero preventive or preservation activity in 20 years looks like. And imagine you've got a toolbox full of those out there, right? You got a portfolio of poor roads. So the condition assessment is fine. That's fine. Let's assess it. Guess what? The result's going to come back that they're poor or failed. The challenge lies in, how do I take that top line budget item number, $1,000,000, $200,000? I'm going to be honest with you. This individual has 150 centerline miles of roadway that they're responsible for the maintenance and repair activities of. They're only doing mill and overlay. Okay, here it comes. Their budget annually, on average, $200,000. $200,000 on a 150-mile centerline network. If you want to put a levy together to really get the taxpayer to understand what you're doing, you've got to have a turnkey program. You've got to be able to tell that story. Otherwise, you're just going to ask for money. The public's not going to buy in because they don't see where the impact is going to go. They don't see the improvement of their network over time. So you have to think about these things when you're sitting down, going into a levy discussion, your annual budget repair. So here's what I want to tell you. I'm going to wrap it up here real quick. When you sit down to plan the budget, if your budget is stagnant and it's this $200,000, my suggestion is put the money into the portfolio of roadways that have the best opportunity to be saved. Because guess what? A PCI of a 10 today will be a PCI of a 10 tomorrow. However, a PCI of a 70 today can absolutely get down to a 55 PCI tomorrow. How do I know this? Freeze thaw. That's how asphalt roadways deteriorate very quickly, because those roads in the 70s that have the cracks, they have the light severity, load associated distress, the medium severity distress for climates. Those are the ones getting all the water. Those are the ones having all the issues. That's where the potholes are going to form. And all it takes is, say, 3 to 5 freeze thaw cycles this winter, and we've got problems. So that's where I'm at today. I want to wrap it up with that one. I hope this adds value to your day. Until the next one, pave the way.